Hey up, and welcome back to the channel and a new video. We've got Tommy here in the sunshine, and you join me here today in this glorious sunshine. I'm at the chateau, and today we're going to be taking advantage of the sun's light energy, and we're going to be using these light particles or photons to produce some free electrical energy. Now, I like free me, and without getting too geeky, we all know solar panels absorb light energy and they convert this into electrical energy. So what we've done, we've purchased a further two 100 watt panels, and we're going to be complementing our single factory fitted 100 watt panel. So if you're new to the channel, a big thank you for tuning in, and again we're going to be adding these two 100 watt flexible solar panels to our existing solar system on our 20-month-old 2023 Swift Carrera 184. As with all these modifications and vehicle alteration type videos that I do, none of these videos are meant to be a step-by-step or a how-to type video. Neither are they supposed to be this is what you should do to your vehicle. I take no responsibility for what modifications or alterations you do to your vehicle. This is just what I've done to ours. If you don't feel confident or competent in delving into your own vehicle's 12 volt systems, then just leave them the hell alone. Okay, I've closely matched these two new panels to the same specs as our existing panel, and all three panels are going to be wired in series. When wired in series, the amps will remain the same and the voltages will be added together. These panels have a current maximum power of 5.4 amps. Therefore, wired in series, our amperage will remain the same at 5.41 amps. Also, these panels have a voltage maximum power of 18.5 volts. Therefore, wired in series, we add these figures together. So 18.5 volts plus 18.5 volts plus 18.5 volts will give us a new voltage of approximately 55.5 volts. So if we take Watt's law and multiply our 55.5 volts and our 5.5 amps, this will give us a power output of 300 watts from three 100 watt panels. Okay, this is what we're going to be fitting today on the top of our van. We've got two 100 watt flexible solar panels. To fasten these to the top of the van, we've got some Stickerflex 522. We've got our cartridge gun. We've got some heat shrink, some suitable cable, some cable ties and some cable mounts. The main reason for us wanting to add further solar panels is to increase the voltage to our MPPT controller. At the start of daylight hours, and in order to initiate a charge, the MPPT controller has to see a voltage of at least 5 volts or higher than the battery. Let's say the battery's at 13.5 volts, then the MPPT controller has to see a voltage of over 18.5 volts to initiate this charge. Once the charge has got started, and for the rest of the day, it only has to see a voltage of 1 volt or higher. With one single panel and cloudy skies, you can sometimes, on some days, really struggle to see this 5 volt increase. However, with three panels wired in series, you can easily achieve this 5 volt increase. With the increase in voltage going into our MPPT controller, you can start a charge earlier in the day, and you can keep a charge longer throughout the day. In the van now, we're going to start this solar installation by removing the fuse from out of the solar system. And the fuse is underneath this bench seat within the Sergeant unit. So let's get this bench seat removed. With the cushions removed off the bench seat, our Sergeant unit lives under here. I'll remove the 4 screws and remove the fuse for the solar system. With the screws removed and the Sergeant unit lifted out of the way, we can now remove the 10 amp fuse for the solar system, which is that one there. For good measure, We've covered up the original 100-watt flexible solar panel, and inside the van we've removed the wires from the solar panel going to the MPPT solar controller. The roof is a bit dirty up here where the solar panels are going to be fitted, so I'll clean that up first. That's the roof cleaned, and we've masked round the solar panels so we know where we're going with our sticker flex. That's the one on the rear. That's one done and stuck on to the next. I noticed on the leading edge of the factory fitted solar panel it was sealed up, but the trailing edge wasn't. I can only think this is to stop wind getting underneath and whistling when travelling at speed. So for good measure I sealed up the two new panels in exactly the same fashion. With all these panels now firmly fixed down, we'll get on to wiring them up in series, joining all the positives and negatives. I've still got the panels covered up, but they're all wired up now. All the positives to negatives, all wired up in series. And to finish the job off, we'll replace the fuse in the Sergeant unit, and we'll wire up the solar controller. With the fuse back in the Sergeant unit and the solar controller wired up, our leisure battery is currently on 88%, so the solar controller's gone into absorption, but we're still on a healthy 55.5 volts, and we're gathering 81 watts of solar, and that current is 5.5 amps going into our leisure battery. Happy days. So to conclude this solar installation video, we're now 3 days on since fitting the two new panels, and has this job been worth doing? Well, let's have a look at the figures. Here you see our solar history over the last 12 days. With the single 100 watt panel, we was able to harvest between 20 watt hours and 30 watt hours on each day. Then after fitting the additional two panels, I uncovered the panels halfway through the day, so on the first half a day we gathered 130 watt hours. On the second day we managed 280 watt hours, and on the third day we managed 240 watt hours. I'd say that is a substantial increase. Therefore, is it well worth upgrading from one panel to 3 panels? I'd say most definitely. Furthermore, in the last 3 days, our leisure battery state of health increased from 88% to 93% to 98%. So, on to the cost. The panels were £91.18, the sticker flex was £13.49, the cable was £9.61, and the cable ties and the mountings were £3.80. So that's give us a grand total of £18.08, and I think that's a bargain. If you're still watching this video, thank you very much, and if you found it educational or entertaining, then give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see what Tracy and I get up to on days out and weekends away, then consider subscribing to the channel, as it's completely free. And on that note, we'll hopefully catch up with you on the next one.